LAPD responds.
Let's be careful out there.
Working as a team to protect and to serve.
Whoever's got a gun, leave us alone! Why don't you just let her go? We have a critical missing.
I lost my puppy.
To fight crime and to keep our streets safe.
Hi, welcome to Inside the LAPD. I'm Mary Grady, Public Information Director for the Los Angeles Police Department. Now, the department is policed using bureaus. There are 4 of them, and one of them is South Bureau, and that's where we're at today. South Bureau is 58 square miles, has a population of 640,000 people, and it also has the distinction of being the most violent part of the city, in particular gang violence. In fact, by the end of the year, usually 50% or so of the city's murders have occurred here in South Bureau. It's run by a deputy chief, Charlie Beck, and his assistant, or the assistant commanding officer of South Bureau, is one of the top women in the LAPD.
I'm Commander Debbie McCarthy. Obviously, I work for the Los Angeles Police Department. I'm assigned to Operations South Bureau. I'm the assistant commanding officer there. I've been in law enforcement for about 19 years. Been at South Bureau for a year. I've worked a number of assignments, patrol. I was a senior lead officer. Worked a detective assignment in robbery homicide division, worked internal affairs, and I think I've worked about 5 commands as a captain before I came to South Bureau. I came into law enforcement, or the reason I became interested in law enforcement was, there was a couple of reasons actually, and one of them was my husband is a captain for the Los Angeles Police Department. When I met him, he was undercover in narcotics. Had long hair and a goatee, and he used to come home and tell me stories, and I just found them fascinating. And although I was content at my job at Hughes Aircraft Company, it certainly wasn't something that long-term I thought would keep my interest. So I would ask him questions, and he would tell me what he had done, and I would ask him what options were, alternatives, what he would do differently. I even remember asking him to show me how to clear a house and take down a suspect, something I wouldn't necessarily use at Hughes, but I was pretty interested. So because of my husband, I became very interested. And then I remember there's 2 instances in my life that kind of piqued my interest or made me more interested in law enforcement and being a civil servant. One of them was, I remember going home one day and there was a police officer standing in my kitchen. My little sister was sitting up on the counter and the police officer had his sleeves rolled up and he was making eggs for my sister. She was probably about 5 or 6 years old. There were 8 kids in our family, and somehow, and I don't remember how, she ended up at home alone, knew enough to call 911, and this officer was standing there making eggs for her. And I remember thinking, wow, it made a lasting impression on me, and I'm sure it did on my little sister. And I remember thinking, that's what it's about. That's really what it's about. And then another thing that made me interested, another incident in my life that happened was my younger sister was murdered. When she was 21 years old. And I remember the way I felt and the impact it had on my family, the investigation, how it progressed, and my absolute desperation for them to find the right suspect. The suspect, but I wanted them to find the right suspect. My fear was that first fear was that they wouldn't find the suspect. Second fear was that they wouldn't get the right person. And ultimately they did, and the suspect spent many years in jail. But I remember the impact that it had and the relationships we built, not only through other survivors, but through the police officers who investigated the crime. Usually as I'm rolling to the scene, I try to gather as much information as I can, either on my BlackBerry or I make phone calls, get it on the radio, try to communicate with people en route to the scene so I can start to formulate a plan. Usually my first questions are there any people that are injured, or the officers are okay, any citizens injured, and start to plan to deal with that. Do we have a crime scene established? Have we spoken to witnesses? Have we canvassed the area? Have we started to conduct an investigation? Those kind of things. I remember the first time I saw a young woman who was seriously injured, and I thought that she may die. I was a probationer in Newton, and she was very seriously injured. She was thrown from a moving vehicle in a domestic dispute. She was covered in blood, and I remember walking up to her and really feeling very emotional about the whole thing, emotional about the fact that she was so injured, that her family wasn't there, you know, what was going through her mind, how would her family feel, and I got very wrapped up in it. And I remember thinking, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. And so I went home. My husband's in law enforcement as well, and I went home and we discussed it, and I kind of took a different approach. I looked at it. When I looked at it, it may sound cold, but almost clinically. How do we help her? What will the paramedics do when they get here? What can we do to help her until they get here? What can we do to solve this crime and make it better, even if this person does pass, for the family? How can I help the survivors? Because when someone passes, unfortunately, there's not anything we can do except for to assist their survivors. So I took a different approach, kind of a more clinical approach to the actual homicide victim, but a more sensitive approach to their families and survivors. I have no problem going up and holding someone's hand or putting my arm around someone, giving them a hug, telling them I'm sorry for their loss, sitting with them. You know, I don't have any problem doing that. You know, staying for a period of time and trying to contact family members and doing all the things to be that caretaker, that servant, to help them through their tough times. I've seen a lot of men do it as well, but I think as far as the emotional interaction, the ability to physically go up and put your hands on someone and tell them that you're sorry and that you're there to help and you'll do anything you can, probably is more common of women. I have two girls. I have a 12-year-old and a 6-year-old. My 6-year-old is very outgoing, very busy. She's got it all going on. She's an old person. She's like an old person. She was old when she was 18 months. She just was born old. My older girl is she's more quiet and more reserved. When they come to work with me, because I do bring them to work with me, ever since Maggie was a little baby, I would bring her, a small toddler, I would bring her to the community. I would bring her to community meetings. We'd plant trees, we'd paint out graffiti. She helped me deliver Christmas baskets. I wanted her to see different cultures, different ethnicities, different economic backgrounds, so that she could understand, have an appreciation for, and a respect for people that were not the same as her or looked different than her. She's always amazed, or they're both always amazed. They want to know why when I come to work, people call me ma'am. Why do people call you ma'am? And they said, is this your building? Are you responsible for this building and this building? And so I took them up on the roof of 77th, and I said, you see as far as you can see, north, south, east, and west? And they said, yeah. And I said, that's the area that I'm responsible for with Chief Beck. And they just, you know, in all these cars and all these people, and does that person work for you? I mean, it's a lot for them to absorb, but they love to see us on TV. They love to hear about us on the news. They've been to all my promotions. This is a picture of my graduation. I received my Bachelor of Science in Occupational Studies from Cal State Long Beach on May 30th. And I'm with some of my classmates from LAPD. To the right of me is Deputy Chief Beck. To the left is Detective Jeff Chavez, and to his left is Captain Matt Blake. And we all went through the program together. And we decided that even though we were quite a bit older than the average graduate, that we would walk, because most of us have kids, and we thought it would be good for our kids to see, and it would set a good example for them. They're pretty excited about it. I go to their schools in uniform. It's a lot of fun. As you heard earlier, there's a man over here that's distressed because this investigation's taken a little while. He's concerned about the family. He's concerned that the deceased has been in the car for a period of time. And so we try to expedite those things out of, you know, courtesy to the families and the people in the neighborhood, and try to, of course, we have to gather as much evidence as we can and do a thorough investigation, but these are all things you have to keep in mind. Earlier, I'm not exactly sure when, a car was taken in Hollywood. Sheriffs ran it at a later point in time, and it came back as stolen. We later learned that it was possibly a carjack, and I don't have the details of the carjack, but initially it came back as a stolen. They pursued it to this intersection. We're at Vermont and Century. The suspect went into oncoming traffic and hit that truck, that small, I think it's a Toyota, the white truck that you can see behind us, and unfortunately killed the man that's in the passenger seat. The PT Cruiser that you see underneath, it apparently crashed into that, so he was a secondary crash. He was not involved in the initial crash, and that person is okay. The suspects were taken into custody after a short foot pursuit. One suspect in a nearby car, another one fled into the area. So both suspects are in police custody. LAPD will take responsibility for the suspects because the initial crime happened in our area. They'll take responsibility for the traffic accident investigation that you see going on behind us. And of course, the sheriffs will conduct an administrative investigation or a pursuit investigation. I always remind myself why I came on the job. And I came on the job to make a difference and to protect people and to be a servant. And I know some people look at servant and say, well, servant, that's not very glorious, but I think it's an honor, frankly, to be able to come out here and serve people and do something I love and be paid for it. So I think if we just constantly remind ourselves that these are good people in bad situations, I think it makes it a little bit easier. If we come out here and are able to put people in jail for things they've done and make life easier for the people who live and work in Los Angeles, that's really what it's about.
Come this way, guy.
You guys are so sweet. Hi, Dave. Hi, Billy. Thanks for coming. Thanks for everybody for coming.
The time's too short.
That's okay. I hope we're back.
We don't want her to leave. We don't want her to leave. Tell her to stay.
You're coming with me, so take care of her. You better come. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for everything. Thanks.
We'll see you soon, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully I'll be back sometime soon.
In the city of Los Angeles, when duty calls, the LAPD responds.
Hey, John, lower the gun, buddy. John, leave the gun.
Working as a team.
Go ahead and put the gun down. John, nobody's going to come at you, all right? But I'd feel a whole lot better if you were to lower that gun.
To protect and to serve.
Why don't you come back here to me, all right? All right, that's good. Walk toward me with your hands up, John. Put you in handcuffs.
All units, code 4, suspect detected.
Thanks for working with me.
291, show me code 6 on the article search for the Amber Alert.
To fight crime and to keep our streets safe.
Another positive hit on this bag.
We believe at this time that the vehicle is in our custody.
Any available unit to respond to the northeast corner, 7th and Gorge for the Amber Alert.
6K 253 right, over the call.
14X11, show us responding.
Cycle 2, we're en route.
This is it.
Let's go.
For the officers of the LAPD, it's all in a day's work. Protecting our families.
Look at your daddy.
They take pride in what they do.
Code from the Amber Alert. Missing child found and returned to parent. Suspect in custody.
LAPD is hiring. Become a part of the team. Visit us at joinlapd.com.
Last February, I had 27 years in the department. I came here with a degree in criminal justice and decided that Illinois was too cold, Arizona was too hot, California was just right. And I came here, fell in love with this department, the community, and actual police work. When I came here, I knew nobody in California, zero. And I thought, okay, I got to really like this place because, you know, I didn't really want to tell anybody back home I made a mistake by coming all the way out here. And everyone talks about how difficult the academy is, and it is difficult. And I'm going to tell you, you need to be physically sound, mentally sound, healthy when you come here. And you got some time while you're doing your background to get physically prepared, and that's very, very important. But once you get here, even though it's physically tough and mentally tough, and it was, and like I said, I knew nobody, so the homesickness stuff was kicking in, this job really is a great opportunity. It allowed me the flexibility to have children and be a full-time mom and a full-time cop, because I worked while they slept. You got to come here with the right mindset and be physically and mentally prepared. And everybody here, Kenny's got a great program with the mentoring program. They will walk you through all of this. They will help you. LAPD, I always say, we got a free, 24-hour fitness program for you. I hope all of you take the test today, and I hope to see all of you within the next 6 to 8 months in my academy. And then we'll get you ready. So thank you. This is a group of people who are in our pre-academy training program, and they are doing it on their own time. They've all passed the written test. That's a requirement for this program. And then they can come up on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays and basically work out for free. I always tease about it's the LAPD workout fitness program. But what we do is we try to get them physically prepared for what's going to go on in the academy. So they'll start out with your basic calisthenics, because that's what we do every day out once they get hired into the process. Why they're here is because they haven't passed their backgrounds yet. They're still in the process with personnel department, and they're doing the background investigations and interviews on everybody. And then some of them may be here because they don't feel they're physically fit, quite ready to go into the academy. You'll see all sorts of folks in the group, some very good shape and some people who are trying to get in shape. And what they're doing right now is wind sprints. And they do it in teams. And again, this is, you start to see, it starts to build their cardiovascular, because when we do get our police officers out in the field, one of the things that they do have to do pretty regularly is go in foot pursuit. So right now what you're watching is the cardiovascular piece of it. Now once the recruit gets into the academy, they pass all their backgrounds and they're physically ready to go into the academy. They will be doing this out throughout their 28 weeks. So they will be doing 3 to 4 days a week. They'll be doing what we call physical fitness training. And it is all geared to get them stronger and in aerobic shape, so that when they go out in the field, if they have to fight with a suspect, they physically can handle it. If they have to chase a suspect, they can stay up with the suspect and catch the suspect. So it isn't just because we want people to be physically fit. We also have a reason behind it. Being physically fit is important, but it is really an essential job function. So what you're seeing right now is a variety of stages. Some people may be 2 or 3 weeks away from going into the academy, and some may be a couple of months away from going in the academy. We offer this all over the city on a variety of days so that we can try to meet everybody's needs, because most of the people that you're seeing out there are either still going to school or they are also in other jobs. We have a lot of people coming in. We have teachers, we have corporate America, we've got kids working over at Vaughn's, so we've got a variety of schedules that we're kind of working around. And the department has really opened up in the last year in terms of trying to reach out to the folks that would like to come on the department. Okay, today is we're up here at Elysian Park. We have our Women's Expo. We do it once a year, and we try to attract as many women out there from the community that are interested in the job. And about half of the women that you see out there have made the commitment that today, after they see all the demonstrations, that they are going to go take the test. The other half are trying to wobble. We're trying to convince them, take the test and give yourself choice. But this gives them an opportunity to see what will be in store for them. Also what we have to offer to them to help get them prepared. Because one of the mysteries, especially for women in our society, about law enforcement is, what really is it going to entail? Am I going to be able to do it? Physically and mentally, will I be prepared? So this gives us an opportunity to show them, hey, we're here as a team, we're here to support you, and we're going to get you physically and mentally ready for it. And we just ask that they meet us halfway, that they make the commitment to get ready. The people who are going to take the test today, they have over a 50% chance of passing the test. Now, if they don't pass the test, we also don't want them too discouraged that they can come back in another 3 months and take the test again. And it's just like any other thing. Sometimes they haven't taken a test for a long time. They may have been out of school for a very long time. You see, we have all sorts of different age ranges. So some people just haven't taken a test in a long time, so they may have not passed it for those reasons. So we do give people a second opportunity, but after taking it the first time, if they don't pass it, they have some time to get prepared to take it a second time. But our goal is to really ensure that whoever can pass that test starts getting into a program like this immediately. How long have you been wanting to be a police officer?
It was like June of last year. I started seriously considering it. Never really thought about it before, but the opportunity came, and so far so good.
So far so good.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that we get you into the academy before the end of summer, huh?
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully.
Very, very good.
I will do whatever it takes, but I will pass.
What are you doing right now?
Me, I'm working as a driver.
Okay.
Part-time.
All righty. How about you?
Oh, I did that for a while. I worked for MTA for 4 years, and I'm like unemployed right now.
Okay, so this is a really good opportunity for you. And you? Are you working?
I work in a warehouse.
Okay. So this is really going to be a career for all three of you. How long have you guys been wanting to be officers?
I've been wanting to be an officer since I was little.
Yeah. Really?
I really have. It's like every time I see an officer, especially women, it's like
that's what you want to do.
That's what I want to do.
That is great.
Now at this time in my life, I'm more focused and more dedicated to really pursue this.
We ask that you make any phone calls before you enter the testing area. You will not be allowed to use any phones during the examination time. The test length is an hour and a half. So make any phone calls before you enter. We ask that you use the restroom as well so you don't lose any test time. Are there any questions?
Okay, do me a favor, go to her, she'll check you out. You go to my partner there. If you're ready, you can jump in front now.
Okay, can you step in that side? All I need you to do is mark the highest one completed. X these two out and initial it. I need you completely darken in the box here. Write the word none here. Everything else looks good. Step inside. Go first seat all the way down in the first row, please.
Go inside and the lady will tell you where to sit next. You're good. How are you? You're doing police officer. Go ahead and have a seat and thank you. How are you?
Good, thanks. Address is different because I just moved.
Hair is different.
Next in line.
You can go ahead and talk. You can go ahead.
She's checked out. Yeah. You're going to step into here?
Go ahead and go inside and have a seat. Go to that lady.
Okay. You're going to follow her next to the little seat.
You checked her already?
Yeah, she's checked.
Okay. Thank you. No problem. Do me a favor, go over to her. Go to the next person. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Did
Can
you
I see your
listen?
ID?
Yeah.
Yes, please. Nevada. How long have you been here?
I have homes here and in Nevada.
Okay. But your primary residence right now is in Nevada?
Both. I just commute back and forth.
Okay. Do me a favor, and I want you to bubble everything in, okay? So just stand over here and bubble it in.
I thought everything is bubbled.
You're crossed it off?
Oh, I crossed the bubble. Okay.
When she's not in the field working with young people who are hoping to become LAPD recruits, Commander McCarthy can be found inside her office redesigning the department's training.
Well, I'm not here very often. So usually when I'm here, I'm doing a lot of pre-planning for training. We do a lot of designing new courses and taking old courses and redesigning them, bringing them up to speed, up to date for based on the needs, what we're going to need in the city, what we're going to need based on the legal issues. So for instance, right now we're doing a lot of designing of the new mobile field force crowd control training that's going to be rolling out, and everybody in the department is going to be going through it over the next for 4 to 8 months, depending on how many people are in the field. So this is where we do a lot of the design. I have a variety of hats, and my main hat is to oversee all of training for both in-service and recruit training. So I have, at this point, about 611 recruits in the academy, and at any given time I will have between 500 and 700 recruits at any given time in training on 3 different sites. I manage the 3 different sites, and then I'm also responsible for all the in-service training, which includes any federal mandates, state mandates, and then all of the issues that the department itself feels is important. So I oversee both in-service and recruit training, and then I have a lot of interaction with the consent decree mandates, because there's many consent decree mandates that involve training. So I have to make sure those are infused into all the training that we do, as well as any other consent decree. It's not just the current federal consent decree. We have other consent decrees that we are living under, and I need to ensure all of the training incorporates that information as well. The training has to be real, it has to be alive, it has to be dynamic, it has to be able to change with a scenario. That, you know, what happens today out in the city of Los Angeles may be different than what happens tomorrow, and certainly different than what happened yesteryear. Training in the 90s, in the mid-90s, training started to take a somewhat of a shift, at least at the recruit level and somewhat at the in-service level, where recruits, we were starting to do more interactive training. At the time in the 90s, we were trying to get about 20% of the recruit training to be interactive. That, at the time, seemed like a lofty goal. Today, it's very passé. Today, our goal is to get about 80% of our training interactive. Because when you have interactive training, you get information, and then you get to apply it, and then we can actually test the students in a classroom setting that very much simulates what they're going to deal with in the community, when they're out in the community, out riding in the police car, or interacting with, the politicians even. So training really hasn't changed a lot since the 90s. We'll bring new information into training, but in terms of the methodologies that we use, it really hasn't changed. When I joined the department 27 years ago and was in the academy, I was just hoping I could get out of the academy and graduate in 6 months and try to apply some of the things that I learned. I never envisioned myself, 1, being at this level in the organization, and 2, being in charge of training. I love the streets. I spent 15 years in operations, and I just never thought I'd be given this opportunity.
Strong, capable, confident commanders. With women like the ones that you've just met, it is no wonder that the ranks of women inside the LAPD continues to grow. Thanks for watching this edition of Inside the LAPD. I'm Mary Grady. Please join me again next time.